Last week I turned the main 6 into their villain version, and that made me wonder how the Disney princesses would be like if they would be villains as well in, let's say, an alternate universe. So today we'll be choosing some Disney princesses and I'll be designing their villain version as well as give them a background story and how they became villains in this universe. So without any further ado, let's get started.
A human yourself.
Can you do that?
You can't get something for nothing, you know.
So of course, first up we're going to start with Ariel, and that's because I feel like from her storyline in the first film, she had multiple reasons and why she should join forces with Ursula. From the original storyline, Ursula was counting on the fact that Ariel won't succeed in making the prince fall in love with her, thus making their deal valid. And of course Ursula wasn't happy with that because she was planning on using Ariel as a hostage to get the trident, which is why she even intervened in the first place and kind of manipulated the prince and put him in a spell to think that she was the one that saved the prince instead. However, I think that's the reason why Ursula failed in the original story plot, because I genuinely believe that if she just let Ariel do her thing, and whether or not Ariel fails or succeeds in making the prince fall in love with her, no matter what, I feel like Ariel would have been wrapped around her finger regardless. Because at that time, as far as Ariel knows, Ursula was helping her and she was the only one in that underwater kingdom that was willing to hear her out and willing to help her get what she wanted, albeit in a kind of sketchy looking deal. So in this alternate universe, let's say Ursula actually never intervened, and let's say Ariel did manage to make the prince fall in love with her, so that made her a lot more appreciative of Ursula, and therefore she would have been one of Ursula's most powerful, I guess most influential subordinate that would actually support her, because no one else in that kingdom was really fond of her. So in this universe, Ariel was so grateful to Ursula for turning her into a human and letting her be, to a point where she just supports Ursula and becomes her right-hand man. I feel like with enough manipulation, Ariel would have taken or stolen that trident because, I mean, what's his name? Her dad, I forgot his name, but her dad would have basically not really seen Ariel as a threat and allowing Ariel to sneak past him and get his trident, which is why in this design she's holding a trident right now. I feel like she would have been so supportive of Ursula because Ursula was in turn supportive of whatever she wanted, and I feel like that's how she would have turned into a villain, because as far as she knew from that scene, her dad wasn't very supportive of her ideas. So there's definitely a lot of resentment in her heart in this alternate universe. But as for her character design, I actually kept her human kind of ish form, but instead I made her theming to be more like a lion's mane jellyfish instead of a mermaid. I also had an idea to basically keep her mermaid form but make her look a bit more like a lionfish. But the reason why I stayed with the human legs is because it's a way for her, or a way for me to symbolize that she rejects the mermaid way of life. And to be fair, the lion's mane jellyfish is absolutely gorgeous. They look almost quite ethereal, and I feel like their vibe would suit a villain Ariel vibe as well. I also gave her a slight haircut just because I wanted her head to also look like a jellyfish, which is why her hair is a bit flared up and she's got 2 strings of hair that acts like the tentacles of the jellyfish.
Like a lunatic. We all heard him, didn't we?
No! I won't let you.
So that scene I just played right there is right before the villagers and Gaston went to raid the Beast's castle. We all know what happens in there. Gaston and the villagers get into a fight, and there's a scene where Gaston and the Beast actually go 1v1 with each other. And during their altercation, unfortunately, Gaston did fall from the height of the castle, and I'm assuming he passed away. The thing is, right before Gaston fell, he did manage to get a stab on the Beast, and that's the reason why he supposedly nearly died. And it was by a stroke of luck that Belle has actually confessed her love to the Beast right before the last petal fell from the rose, and that essentially saved his life and also turned the other servants back into human again. Thing is though, that happened by a stroke of luck, because there's a 99.9% chance that if Belle didn't confess her love then and there, at that moment, at that second, then the beast would have died and these servants would have remained permanent objects for the rest of eternity. So in this alternate universe, Belle became a villain because of her grief. Because in this alternate universe, let's imagine that she never said she loved him at that second. Maybe she said it a second too late, maybe she didn't say it at all. But either way, I feel like if the beast did die, then Belle would have been left not only grieving, but also guilt-ridden. And I have a feeling that she would have stayed in the beast's castle because it gave her comfort, because there's no way in hell she was going to go back into the same village that had those villages that helped Gaston. And also the beast's castle does have a huge library that she obviously liked, and it obviously had more books than her local village library, so she would have definitely had a lot of incentive to stay in that castle instead of going back into the village. So let's say that all happened and she kept herself cooped up in the library just because that's the only way for her to grieve. And perhaps she finds a secret chamber in the library or a book hidden away by the enchantress who cursed the beast, and that book is the one that taught her how to, I don't know, animate objects, do dark magic, do something forbidden, something like that, right? And she herself became an evil enchantress. Maybe she will fill the role of the enchantress that cursed the beast. Maybe she'll go around her whatever kingdom or country that she's from and finds evil people like Gaston and curses them. Maybe that's what she does. Anyways, for her character design, the hair didn't change too much. I just put it up because I feel like if she was too busy reading books and enchanting things and learning magic, she would have liked to keep her hair up out the way. Major changes will of course be her outfit. I wanted it to look like the alternative version of her dress, so I kept some gold here and there to make her look like royalty. But essentially I gave her this shortcut leather dress with like webbing at the bottom to make it look like bat wings. And on her original dress she has these kind of curtain looking things at like the near bottom of her dress. And I put the same thing on her new outfit, except I kind of put skulls on it as well to give that villain vibe. I do admit that her outfit doesn't really match the timeline that she's from, but the whole reason why I changed the outfit so drastically is to kind of accentuate on the fact that she's an outsider. She doesn't belong where she is. And that adds into the fact that the villagers already feel like she didn't belong in their village anyway, so it kind of adds to that. So at the first Frozen film, Elsa was already somewhat treated like a villain by Hans and some people from the kingdom when her powers were revealed right in front of everyone. And one point I want to make is that even if Elsa does become a villain of whatever film, I don't think she would be a villain that's purely evil. She would definitely be the type of villain that is only seen as a villain because of her powers. She's definitely very protective, and as we saw in the film, she tries to push people away so that they won't be harmed by her. And in turn, because she typically uses her powers to make sure people stand away from her, that would definitely cause and has caused a lot of misunderstandings. So people would assume that she's trying to attack them, hence why, in their point of view, she would definitely be a villain. But I think she would definitely have a breaking point, and I think that breaking point is what we saw at that scene I've just played where Anna became completely frozen. I think that was her lowest point in life. That was definitely her breaking point. And if Anna never turned back to normal, I feel like that would have been it for her. And by that what I mean is, even if Hans somehow got behind her, I can't remember the exact scene, but even if Hans tried to attack her, I don't think she would let that happen, not gonna lie. I think she would just run away, and she would just kind of be the type of person to punish herself because of the guilt, because she blames herself for what happened to Anna. So in this alternate universe, Anna's freezing would have been permanent, and that loss would have been overwhelming to Elsa, and she internalizes that guilt. Eventually, I think that guilt would have turned into bitter anger, just anger at general, anger at the fate, anger at herself, and anger at the world for making her turn out to be a villain. I don't genuinely think that she would go out of her way to hurt people. Maybe she would hunt Hans down if she ever figured out that he was one of the reasons why Anna wasn't able to survive. But aside from that, there is no way she would be hunting people down. I think she would have just self-isolated herself in the frozen castle, and then a lot of people would have been making rumors up saying that she's the ice witch to never go near her, and that's fine by her. She wants to be alone anyway. But yeah, I believe that she would have become a villain because of people's labels, not because she's purely evil herself, but she would have just accepted that. She would have accepted the fact that she's bad, that she can't change, and that she'll always be a danger to others. But for her character design, I basically went with the concept of, excuse me for the pun, but frozen. I like that aesthetic. It sounds really bad, but I really like the aesthetics of Anna being frozen, and I feel like if Elsa were to be a frozen villain queen, then she would definitely have similar vibes like that as well. So that's why you could see her skin is blue in here. The essential color palette I'm going for is very or similar to being monotonous. I use different shades of blues and turquoise, light blues to color her in, and she basically looks like a walking block of ice. I don't know if her heart can be frozen literally, but I feel like she would have that frozen heart effect because she's so sad, she's so mad at herself that she basically turned herself into walking ice. I also added the robe or hood back because in the scene where she took away her robe, it's kind of like a way for her to be free, but adding back the robe is a way to symbolize that she kept herself, or she's keeping herself caged right back. Before I move on to the next design, I just want to say that I've definitely chosen a winner for the autumn theme pony I made in last week's video. I've already sent them a message, but I haven't gotten a reply back, so I couldn't add their name in this video because I wasn't too sure if they were comfortable with that. But congratulations to the person that won the pony, and if you guys have missed out on this, don't worry at all. I'll be making more giveaways like these in the future, so don't worry about it. But now let's move on to the last design.
Your daughter?
How dare you? All of you, standing around deciding my future? I am not a prize to be won.
She was so valid for that reaction because there is no way 3 men were deciding her future for her, and I vouch her for that. But when I watched that scene for this video, I realized that could definitely be a turning point for her to basically turn away from her kingdom, turn away from her father, and make sure that she will never ever be used as she said, a trophy to be won. As we know from Aladdin, Jasmine has been raised under a heavy palace, a cultural expectations to marry, to obey the sultan, to obey the laws, and to conform to political alliances. And when we met Jasmine, we know that she was definitely not fond of this. She openly said to her father outright that these laws were wrong, that she didn't want to be forced to marry, and if she was to, she would marry by love and not by because it makes their kingdom stronger or something like that. So we know that she was definitely under pressure and she felt really trapped and powerless, which is why she tried to escape the castle and, ended up failing. And then when she and Aladdin eventually got caught, she did feel guilty afterwards because Jafar had lied to her and said that Aladdin was actually executed because they assumed that he kidnapped her. So not only would she have felt very frustrated and angry for the fact that she got caught and be forced back into the palace where she is trapped, but also felt really, really guilty because she had, in her mind at that time, she would have caused the death of an innocent life. And on top of that, when she got back into the castle, there's a random guy, who was Aladdin of course, that came in and saying that he was going to win her. So that would have been the end of it. And as I said earlier, that would have been the turning point in her villain era. So in this alternate universe, she would have gotten so tired of everything going around in the castle and basically acting like a trophy for everyone, right? So I feel like at some point, she's really smart, she's very, very clever, so I feel like she would have found Jafar's lab or something and maybe found like a way for her to have magic because Jafar has that staff, right? There must be something like that lying around as well. And I can't remember what the sand tiger has actually said. You know, the sand tiger that Aladdin also went inside to get the lamp. I feel like she would have been able to get inside there as well because I think one of the conditions was they have to be pure of heart. And to be fair, Jasmine is pure of heart, I would argue. So she would have found that tiger sand cave because of Jafar's lab and she would have probably escaped. She escaped once, she probably will escape again or could escape again, and she would have found that sand tiger cave and found this tiger eye staff. And that's the stuff I designed that she's holding right now, and it's basically like a tiger eye theme. It's going to be very sharp looking, almost kind of like a weapon. And she would have used this to basically turn herself into an evil sorcerer. In turn, she would have been able to use this for her independence, not just escape, but also a way for her to guarantee her freedom away from all these people, away from all these men and politicians that seems like they're controlling her life. The thing is, from what I could see, Raja is the only companion that she has. Raja's her tiger, and he's the only companion that she has that actually genuinely wanted to protect her and was able to let her go, because he also helped her, I guess, step up into that tree. So he was the only one that was really there to support her. So I feel like her whole design should be tiger themed. And yeah, she would have definitely gone back to get Raja as well. There is no way she would be leaving her most loyal companion in that palace. I feel like she would have used this magic to turn herself into like a tigress sorceress, get Raja and get out of there. And I feel like the way she becomes villainous is kind of similar to Elsa, where she's not villainous because she seeks chaos or anything, but because she's sick and tired of people making decisions for her and leaving her with no autonomy whatsoever. In a way, it is opposite to Elsa, because whilst Elsa was protecting others from herself, Jasmine is protecting herself from others. But basically for her design, I gave her this roughed out dress because the outfit she's wearing right now on the top left corner is a palace outfit that I would believe is associated to royal life, so she would want to get rid of that. And I gave her tiger-like features as well because I feel like she would have made herself physically strong as well, so she's not completely reliant on magic. But yeah, in this form, she's definitely 100% more independent with or without magic. Well, that's all I have for this video. And before you guys say anything, I know that Elsa's a queen, so she's technically not a princess, but I wanted her to be included in here as well because I think out of everyone in the entire lot that I've drawn, she's definitely had the best reasons to become a villain. And I only had a short list of princesses in this video, but if you guys have any ideas on how the other princesses would be villains, let me know in the comments down below. And as usual, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you give a like and subscribe if you want more content like this in the future, and I'll see you all next Mango Monday. Bye!